Let me say this clearly at the start. If you're still standing after resistance, you are now responsible for what you allow. This is not a comfort lesson. This is a consequence lesson. Welcome back, builders. And if you're here at week 8, it means something important. You didn't quit when resistance showed up. You didn't fold when it got hard. You didn't misread pressure as disqualification. And because of that, the conversation has to change. Because you are still standing, you are now responsible for what is allowed to influence your assignment. This week is not about survival, it's about stewardship. And so, with that said, I'm going to jump right on into the lesson this evening because I know you're excited about it. We've already been going many weeks. Many of you have been doing an amazing job, and I'm so proud of you. So, I'm not going to spend a lot of time recapping because you already have more than enough to look over, review, and continue. All right. So, let's go ahead and get started. Here's what I want to talk about. First of all, week 6 taught us to replace emotion with structure. Week 7 taught us to stand when resistance rose. But here's what's most important for builders that they don't realize. Many don't collapse under opposition. They collapse after momentum when access goes ungoverned. And this is important because the first thing I want to dispel is a false belief that sounds spiritual, but really isn't. And that is this: if something is supportive, affirming, or well intended, it's safe to influence how the assignment is carried out. Now, I want you to mark this down and I want you to remember it. Take a screenshot or whatever you have to do because this is very important. And the reason why this is important at this stage of building is that this belief doesn't attack obedience loudly, it shapes it quietly. We have a popular term out there today called gatekeeping, but I'm not talking about that type of gatekeeping. I'm talking about the spiritual gatekeeping because gatekeeping is obedience to the assignment, not protection of self. So we're not trying to preserve ourselves. We're trying to protect what it is God has given us because authority is preserved by guarding what influences obedience, not by pleasing what surrounds it. This is where many builders lose their authority without ever realizing that they compromised it. We've been discussing Nehemiah quite a bit, and Nehemiah, the wall was finished. The threat didn't disappear, but the work had to shift. Why? What came next wasn't celebration, it was gatekeeping. Because construction without control creates vulnerability, not victory. The gates weren't about fear, they were about faithfulness. And here's the truth most people miss: misalignment rarely enters through opposition, it usually enters through access. What do I mean by that? Well, I'm glad you asked because what I want to share with you is this. If we don't guard the access that we've been given to the assignment that we have, then we allow things to influence it, to impact it, and to speak into it. Misalignment, as I said, is rarely entered through opposition. It usually enters in through access. We've allowed some access. And so I want to talk about an ungoverned gate and a guarded gate because when we talk about access, what we're talking about is this: allowing repeated advice to slowly reshape our priorities, even when it contradicts the original instruction you received. And if we allow things and people to influence or reshape the priorities that we've already been given, that we've been realigned with, especially when it contradicts our original instruction, then we haven't guarded that gate. Are you with me? So the example of a guarded gate would be this: you listen respectfully, but refuse to let any counsel alter direction unless it aligns with the assignment God already defined. What I mean by that, I mean you respectfully listen to people as best as you can, but you refuse to allow whatever they are speaking or trying to speak into deter you from the assignment that you have, from the path that you're on, from the course that you've taken, especially if you've been with me on this architectural journey. Why? Because it's very important. Because access isn't proximity. Access is influence over direction. This is what we're defining it as in this journey. It is the influence over the direction or the path that has already been established and set for you as a result of the journey that you've been on. Let me give you an example of what this looks like. For example, if something can, hear me, if something can shape your decisions or someone, redefine your priorities, adjust your timing, or expand or shrink the scope of what it is you're doing or been called to do, any of these happen or take place, then it's not neutral. Hear me. It is not neutral. It's influential. If someone's allowed to shape, redefine, adjust, or expand what it is you have already been assigned and called to do that you now know that you didn't before, it's not a neutral position they're taking. It's a position of influence. They're trying to influence you. And many of us have been down that road before. We've suffered under the consequences of that. So we know what that looks like and what that feels like. And therefore, we have to be careful, because this is not about isolating yourself or cutting yourself off from people or protecting your feelings. Okay. This is about guarding direction that you've already been given by God, guarding the definition that you've already been defined as your new archetype. This is about you guarding your obedience to Him to stay faithful and true to the assignment He has given you. And this is about you guarding the timing of that. You're not protecting yourself. This is not personal. We've talked about this enough throughout this journey. This is not about personal attacks. This is about understanding what I've been given to do and assigned to do and making sure that I stay true to that. Okay? Are you with me? Second thing is you are protecting what God defines. Very important, because this is what you're protecting, not yourself, not your emotions, not your feelings, none of that. You are protecting the assignment God has given you, what He's defined and clarified for you, and what it is you ought to be doing. And here's how you do that. You do that by governing, because an ungoverned gate looks like this. You allow urgency from others to rush your timing, even though preparation is incomplete. You know you're not ready to move forward. You know you're not ready to do, but you let people rush you. Girl, you should be doing this. Man, you should be doing this. This is what should be happening right now. This is what should be taking place right now. This is what I should be doing right now. Got to be so careful about that, because that's an ungoverned gate. What a guarded gate looks like is this. You hold timing steady despite external pressure, because obedience, not momentum, sets the pace. I'm obedient to do what I've been assigned to do, what I've been called to do, what I've been gifted by God to do, and I'm doing that. Not because I'm motivated, demotivated. We talked about that before, because motivation fades. But obedience is based upon discipline and control and habits. And so I stay true to doing what I've been given by God to do, when He says do it, how He says do it, and not being influenced by others in doing that. Are you getting this? I hope that you are, because this is very important, because this is what enters in at this stage. You're moving forward. You're doing your thing. And it looks different from what everybody else is doing. It looks different from what others may think or what have you. But you know that it's God. You know you're doing what you're supposed to do, especially at this juncture, especially if you've been with me on this journey. Clarity has now come. Obedience now is our assignment. Responsibility now is our duty. And up to now, you've been learning how to stand, what to stand through, what to reinforce. From here forward, I'm now putting the responsibility back into your hands for what you allow to shape this new obedience walk that you have. You're going to be responsible for how you conduct this walk and what you allow to reshape it, redefine it, speak into it, alter it, change it. You are responsible for that now, and you can't allow that. You've already had disrailments and things of the past. You've already had these things happen and take place to get you off assignment, to shift you, to move you, to get you emotional, to get you out of obedience. It's time out for that now. It's past that now. But how that discernment is practiced is not worked out publicly. This is something that you have to make sure that you are doing privately so that when it is public, when you are in the public arena, you know how to conduct yourself accordingly. You don't shift and change just because you're trying to appease somebody, just because you're trying not to offend someone, just because you're trying to make someone else happy and you continue unfulfilled. That day should be over right now, especially if you've made it to this juncture in this journey. This is such a critical moment right now because we're heading toward home base. We've come around third. We've had 3/4 of work that we put in, and we're heading into the final stretch, which now you and your life is set on a path that does not have to change anymore, doesn't have to alter anymore from outside and external forces, because you should have enough built within you right now to continue this journey and move it forward. And this is what is so important. And I can't say this enough because these last weeks that we've spent together, the things that we've covered, what we've gone through, what we've worked through, what we've endured through, what pressure has tried to force us to back up off and to quit and move away from, we've overcome all of that stuff. We've moved into a place of maturity and responsibility and understanding to where now we have been empowered with all that we need for the rest of the journey that lays ahead of us. And the last few messages, the last few teachings, the last few postings that I've done, I know it's unsettled you in some ways, it's unrattled you in some ways, but that's been intentional. It's been intentional because once resistance no longer moves you, once other people's opinions and thoughts about you no longer move you, once situations and circumstances no longer move you, access now becomes the test. How you're going to govern and guard and protect that so that it remains pure, wholesome, foundational, purposeful, and transitional. And this is why I've been stressing and pushing the Kingdom Architect community, because it's just not any type of community. It is a place of peace and protection. So we work all of these things out so that when you come out into the public space, you know exactly what you should be doing. You know exactly how to stand. You know exactly who you are. You know exactly what's in you. You know exactly, what your purpose for. So the questioning is gone. The guesswork is taken out of it. We work all of these things out and through in this private community where influence, discernment, and obedience can be governed without noise. There's a lot of noise out here on social media and the internet and the public space, and you're hearing this and that and the next things, and I can't tell you what to do. You're going to do whatever it is you feel you need to do. I'm trying to help you by giving you some boundaries and some guardrails to protect your hearing, to protect your seeing, to protect your heart gate, so that you can now walk the life God has given you purposely and in the freedom by which He's freed you. This is where we learn to secure the gates. This is why I'm teaching deep strategies that I can't just relay out here in public meeting. Why? Because they're going to be misunderstood. They're going to be taken out of context. People are going to try to run off with them, not having the full weight of them. I posted in the short prior to this, it's like giving, someone who's untrained and unlearned a loaded weapon without teaching them how to use it. And I'm wiser than that in these late years. And I'm wiser not to do that Why? Because I'm responsible for what I also empower you to go out and do. And if you want to become a part of what we're doing and a part of this journey, the links are always down in the description. To do that, you must complete your blueprint assignment first. That is the foundation, because without that foundation, none of this that we are doing will work for you, because you don't have the how to's. And it's in the community where I give you the how to's. I'm not holding back the how to's from our community. Remember this as we move forward in these weeks ahead. At this junction journey, we've got about 4 more weeks of in depth, and I mean in depth, work that is going to blossom and bloom in your life once you complete it. And I already have what to do next after this, because the how to's are given to you. Now it's just a matter of holding you accountable to make sure that you're doing them. But I want you to remember this as we prepare to wrap up here. I told you I'm out here quick, passing in a hurry, because I'm in the private community going deep, and that's where you need to be if you really want this, and if you really want to do this, and if you really want to learn who you are at the core and essence of your being, what you're here to do, who you're here to do it for, and how you can do that. I'm giving you all of that information in the Kingdom Architect community. But I want you to remember this, and this is very important. This is very key. And that is this: God does not entrust you. Oh, before I ask you this question, I got a little ahead of myself. I don't want to ask you this question yet. So hold on that thought. Hold on that thought. But remember this: God does not entrust gates to the gifted, He entrusts them to the disciplined. We wondered and we've asked, even ourselves, why haven't we been given more? Because we're gifted, because we're talented, because we've got abilities, because we've got skill, and yet we still have missing pieces in our life. We still have missing places that are not connected, and we wonder why the dots are not connecting. We have periods and pockets of success or periods and pockets of blessing, but it's not a consistency there. That means there's still something missing. There's a gate open that you haven't guarded. There's something that God isn't fully entrusting you with, because He doesn't entrust you just because you're gifted, just because you're talented, just because you got some ability, just because you think that you are special. He entrusts people that are disciplined, that can walk out in obedience and give more. This week is what I want you to do. And this is where I was getting a little ahead of myself because I got excited. But I want you to ask yourself this question this week. And that is this: what am I allowing that is reshaping obedience in my life and not strengthening it? This is a deep, thought provoking question, and I've had to ask myself this question over the years. This is why I'm posing it to you. What have you allowed to reshape the obedience in your life and not strengthen it? Could be people, could be an assignment, could be a habit, could be an undisciplined area, could be an influential voice. But what have you allowed up to this point to reshape obedience in your life to where it's not strengthening you, but it's actually pulling away from you and pulling you away from your assignment, what you're called to do, what you're called to be, what you're called to deliver? Very important. And that's very important because, as I said earlier, if you allow it to reshape that obedience and you not walk continually obedient, you're going to miss. You're going to miss something. You're going to miss, hopefully not the greatest things God had for you. But up to now, many of us can say we haven't walked in the fullness and the completeness of what that looks like, because we haven't walked in the full, complete obedience consistently of what He's instructed us to do. I hope that this has been beneficial to you, that you got something out of this, that you're looking forward to moving forward. Again, the link to the Kingdom Archetype community is down below. The blueprint link is going to be the first thing that you see, because if you haven't completed that, I can't allow your interest into the community, because you won't know what to do in there if you haven't done the blueprint work and the blueprint assignment, because we're going deep in there and we're actually doing the practical things that need to be done at this stage and at this juncture of our lives so that we can see the consistent results that God would have us see, that we can do the consistent things that need to be done so that we find ourselves well pleasing in his sight, that he can say, well done. You've been faithful over little. I'm now ready to give you much. And I don't know about you, but I'm ready for the much. I've been preparing for the much. I've been emptying out so I can be poured in for the much, so I can perform and do the much. So until next time, I pray the Lord bless you and keep you and make his face shine upon you, be gracious unto you and grant unto you his peace. I pray that he continue to watch over you and watch between me and thee while we're absent one from another until he bring us back together again. If you are already on the journey, I look forward to seeing you in the Kingdom Architect community. If you're not, let's get started today. What's holding you back and what's hindering you? You reached out to me in some form and you said you wanted to start, but you fell off and you didn't. It's simple. All you got to do is pick back up where you dropped it and keep moving forward. Okay? Till next time, take care. God bless. Bye for now. And I hope to see you on the inside.